Hello everyone. Today we are going to look into the poem Obituary written by A.K Ramanujan, who is known as one of the trio of Indian English poetry. He has been he has been considered as a poet, a linguist, a translator, folklorist, and a professor. And this poem, Obituary, by the word title Obituary, it has different meaning in this context, the poem which has been written. The literal meaning of the title Obituary is a death notice in remembrance of someone who has passed away. So this poem Obituary is ironical in the poem written by A.K. Ramanujan. Let's move on to the poem now. Father. We do not know whose father we can interpret or we can consider. It's the narrator's father. When he passed on, passed on, which means when he died. It's a phrasal verb. Passed away is also a phrasal verb which has the same meaning, but if you look into that in a lexical level, semantic level, you see A.K. Ramanujan is known for his choice of words he uses in his writings. Passed on is of more refined language that he has used instead of the regular usage passed away. When father died, he left some of the things, and he begins to list out one after another. He begins with the dust which is dust signifies meaningless. It lacks no value, it has no meaning, it is not useful for anything, which is something no not it's something not required. Dust is something not good, hygienic. So he says, when father died, he left dust on the table full of papers, and he also left debts and daughters. Debts and daughters are something to be debt is something to be repaid. It's something liability. And daughters in Indian tradition, where these daughters grow up to certain age till 18 or 21, and then they marry somebody, and they have to leave their parents, and they have to go to husband's house. When the no when the tradition of a marriage takes place, when the practice of marriage takes place, it is the burden for the family members, where they have to spend a lot of money, in terms of arranging marriage, spending lavishly. And then the next thing is the very important fact of the marriage is the dowry system, which has been followed for a long time. So it is the responsibility for the of the parents, where they have to give some amount of dowry to the groom's family in the name of a marriage. That's why he says it is no now it comes to that whatever father borrowed, it is the responsibility of the son to repay them. And it is the son also thinks about his own sisters. And he moves on to the next one: a bedwetting grandson, a small child who involuntarily urinates on the bed. And this also signifies a kind of the condition of the family which is not hygienic when he died. And the child who has been named after the grandfather, the father who has died. So here you see the tradition of a naming ceremony in a Tamil Brahminical family, especially Iyengar family. They name after the grandfather. The child, the first son in the family, would be named after his grandfather, and the second child would be named after maternal grandfather. If it is a daughter, granddaughter, the granddaughter would be named after paternal grandmother. and the second child, if the second child is also a daughter, a female child, she would be named after second grand maternal grandmother's name. So here you find he avoids the tradition of Iyengar family's tradition, the Brahminical family tradition. Rather, goes for a tossing a coin. He goes for a tossing a coin. And if you look into his real life of A.K. Ramanujan, A.K. Ramanujan denounced, no, he didn't want to be identified as a Hindu and he didn't want to be identified as a Brahmin. And the second stanza, if you see that, a house that leaned slowly through our growing years on a bent coconut tree in the yard. So he left dust, he left papers on the table, he left debts, and he left daughters, and he left a bedwetting grandson, and he also left the ceremony where it has to be followed year after year. And next one, he also moves on to the next one, the house, the building, where they have been living for a long years. It is not a new house, rather it's an old house, a house that leaned slowly through our growing years on a bent coconut tree. A house which has become an old house, it has to be mended or something to be revamped, and that has to be taken into account. The father did not look into that problem, rather he left doing nothing to the building. So that particular building seeks the support of a bent coconut tree. It's not a straight coconut tree. Rather, already the coconut tree is a bent one, where this house seeks the support of a bent coconut tree. This is the condition of the family. And being the burning type, he burnt completely, properly at the cremation. So here you see there is a pun, quibble used by A.K. Ramanujan. The first burning refers to emotional, emotion, a person who is so severe, no, a short-tempered person, a person who used to get angry, no, who is stern, who is severe. That's what he talks about, the way he describes his father after his death. And the second burn, he refers to a physical burning. The first burning refers to emotion of the person, the character of the person, whereas the second burning, he talks about the physical burning of a dead body at the cremation. Cremation, this as per Hindus ritual, they cremate the dead body. So they follow the tradition or the ritual of Brahminical society. As the Brahminical society suggests, they have to burn the dead body. That's what he says. He burnt at the cremation. So with that, we'll stop today and we'll continue from the third stanza in the next